Most peptides sold for fat loss don't work. Not the science is early. Not it depends. In healthy humans, with real trial data, most of the ones filling up gray market carts right now do close to nothing. But one category does work, and the results are big enough that doctors stopped arguing about it. So in the next 5 minutes, the hype tier, the maybe tier, and the one tier with the receipts. No bro science. First, what people even mean by a fat loss peptide. A peptide is a short chain of amino acids, a precise signal that tells specific cells what to do. The fat loss claim is usually one of two mechanisms. Either the peptide tells your body to burn more stored fat, or it changes how hungry you feel. That second mechanism, appetite, is the one that turns out to matter most. Hold on to that, because it's the thread that runs through everything in this video, and it's why one category wins and the rest don't. 3 tiers. Let's rank them. Start with the ones you see advertised hardest, because the hype runs ahead of the evidence. AOD 9604. It's a fragment of human growth hormone, marketed as a fat burner that won't touch your blood sugar. The pitch sounds great. The problem is the trials. The largest human study, a 6-month obesity trial, found AOD 9604 was no better than placebo for weight loss. That's not a gray area. It failed its main test. HGH Fragment 176 to 191. Same family, same story. Strong fat loss effects in fat cells in a dish and in rodents. Almost nothing in controlled human data. The animal signal is real. The human proof isn't there. Here's the honest pattern for Tier 1. These are real compounds with real mechanisms in a petri dish, sold using that lab data as if it were proof in people. It isn't. If the strongest evidence for a fat loss peptide is a rat study or a cell culture, that's not a fat loss peptide yet. That's a hypothesis. Tier 2 actually does something, just not what the marketing implies. The growth hormone peptides, CJC, 1295 and ipamorelin, are the big names here. They don't replace your growth hormone. They nudge your pituitary to release a bit more of your own. More growth hormone can mean a modest shift in body composition over time, slightly less fat, slightly more lean mass. Keyword, modest. This is a slow, small recomposition effect in people with an actual deficit, not a fat loss switch. It works best under a doctor who's tested your baseline hormone levels first. Then there's MOTS-c, a peptide your own mitochondria make. In animals, it improves how the body handles glucose and burns fuel, and it's one of the more interesting longevity compounds being studied. But in humans, for fat loss specifically, we're still early. Promising is not the same as proven, and this channel won't pretend it is. So Tier 2, real, but small, and only sensible with blood work and a physician. Now the category with the receipts. And it comes back to appetite. GLP-1 peptides. Semaglutide, the one in Ozempic and Wegovy. Tirzepatide, the one in Mounjaro and Zepbound. These are the only fat loss peptides on Earth with gold standard, large-scale human trials behind them. They work by slowing how fast your stomach empties and signaling your brain that you're full. Quieter appetite, smaller portions, and the weight comes off. Not in a rat. In tens of thousands of people across years of trials. The numbers are the reason nobody serious argues anymore. Semaglutide produces roughly 15 to 20% body weight loss in trials. Tirzepatide, which hits 2 receptors instead of 1, beat it head-to-head, about 31% versus 20. And retatrutide, a triple receptor compound still in late-stage trials, is posting early numbers some researchers are calling the most potent ever studied. That's the whole point of this video in one line. The fat loss peptides that work are the ones that fix appetite, and right now that means GLP-1s. Everything else is either small or unproven. These are prescription medications with real side effects and a real cost. That's a conversation for your doctor, not a checkout cart. One rule across every tier, and it's the one that actually keeps you safe. The gray market is the real danger here, more than any single compound. Independent testing of gray market peptides has found heavy metals, bacterial contamination, and vials with as little as 5% of the labeled peptide. You cannot dose your way around a contaminated vial. So, blood work first, because peptides address deficits, and if you don't know your numbers, you're guessing. A licensed physician, a verified pharmacy, or don't run them at all. Quick recap. Tier 1, the AOD and fragment compounds, hype ahead of the evidence. Tier 2, the growth hormone peptides and MOTS-c, real but small and physician only. Tier 3, GLP-1s, the only category with the human data to back the claim. If you want the full breakdown on how those GLP-1s actually work, semaglutide versus tirzepatide versus what's coming next, that one's already up. No hype, just the evidence. I'll see you in the next one.